Hey YouTube, it's Marida and welcome to another edition of the Nurse Lounge. You see we have a different setup today. I got something different going on. But anyway, I went to the community tab and asked you all what you all wanted me to talk about in my upcoming videos. I'm off for a little while, and I thought I would just ask you what you wanted. I definitely have content coming that I plan on doing, and I'm going to continue my series with my narcissistic marriage as usual. However, I need to know nursing content or any other thing that you want to know maybe about me that you want me to do a video on. So I have a topic today that was based off of a subscriber, and we are going to talk about, or actually what she asked me was to do a video on basically talking about my, like, she didn't say any regrets, but basically like my past. What would I tell my past self? What things would I do differently now that I've been a nurse for 16 years if I had in hindsight? So if I can go back over and do it all over again, what would I do differently when it comes to being a nurse? So that's what this video is about right now. If you want to see what I would do differently, what mistakes that I felt that I made that I could learn from, that maybe it could save you all from, if you are, definitely into this nursing path, then definitely stay tuned. All right, we're back. So again, this video is about what is it that I would do differently. I don't know what I'm going to title it, but just know it'll be somewhere along those lines. In case you all don't know me, it's the first time you've ever seen my video. My name is Dr. Marida P. I am a registered nurse. I've been a nurse for 16 years, and I just finished my doctoral degree in executive leadership. I am an OB/GYN well baby nursery nurse, as well as a nurse educator and nurse mentor. So if you want to know more about that journey, definitely subscribe to this channel. Look at tons of other tons of other nursing videos that you can see more about my view on nursing, what I've done. I have vlogs up. I have just inspirational things for the ones who are struggling when it comes to nursing school and things like that. I also have fashion, beauty, makeup, lifestyle, all those things on the channel as well. So enough of that. Now, to answer her question, some regrets that I have or things that I would do over again. The first thing, keep in mind, I told you I'm a well baby nursery nurse, mother baby type of thing. In OB, they like you to be cross-trained in one other area outside of your primary area. So if you were hired for labor and delivery, as an example, they're going to want to cross-train you probably in postpartum or nursery, as an example. Those who come into OB with REM as a nursery nurse typically get cross-trained into NICU. For postpartum, we get cross-trained into nursery. They want you to be able to work at least one other area in that OB realm. Now, mind you, I do do GYN surgeries, but that's still considered part of the postpartum med-surg aspect. So my regret is never learning labor and delivery. So if any of you happen to be mother-baby nurses, and you know moms, you know babies very well, you've had antepartums, go ahead and definitely see about learning labor and delivery, because it makes you more marketable. There are jobs, tons of jobs, traveling jobs, things like that, that you could get because you would be like the triple threat, so to speak. You would know how to do labor and delivery, postpartum, and nursery. You would be like the triple threat. So if I had a regret, that'd be one of them, that I did not go and learn labor and delivery. And the reason why I didn't is because I've worked at facilities where I knew I wouldn't have been trained correctly. And I know that I did not want that under my belt for me to learn something wrong when I really needed to know the right way of how to do things. And plus, there's one nurse who I would love to train with, who I know would teach me well, but she works nights and nights only. And I don't want to go back to night shift to save my life. I just do not want to go back to night shift ever. So who's to say? You never know. Just because I have my doctoral degree now, I still work the bedside. Who's to say that I still can't go back and do that? But I am moving away from bedside nursing at this point, and wanting to kind of focus more so on academia type of thing. Education is that's what my master's degree is in, nursing education. So that's one thing I'll go back and change. Another thing I'll go back and change is I would have come off of night shift much sooner than I did. So for you all who happen to love night shift, definitely stay there if that's what you want to do. But it definitely takes a toll on your body, and it takes a toll on your mind. And I gained a lot of weight from it. Plus I was having babies at the same time as well, but I gained a lot of weight from it. And I will say that the sooner I came off night shift, the better. I've been off night shift now for about 4 years, and I feel so much better. My back doesn't hurt. I'm not as tired. I feel like I'm not losing as much sleep now that I'm on days. However, as you know, there's a shift differential when it comes to going from nights to days. And so you have to be prepared to lose that money. And at the end of the day, your health is more important than the money. But I do understand those who have to make that money for right now. But just be working on you a exit strategy, so that you can be ready to move towards day shift or something else, because it's going to take a toll on your body. Your body is not going to be the same in 30 years as it was when you first started doing nursing. So, and that I know. I've been a nurse for 16 years, like I said, and I won't say back problems, but I do have back pain from time to time. And that has a lot to do with the fact that I've been on that floor for so many years. And, excuse me. And with that being said, I have no qualms about my transitioning out of bedside. Again, I plan on staying PRN, but I will not be working nearly as much on the floor as I have been in the past, because it's time for me to go ahead and let somebody else do that. Another regret I have is not moving around within nursing, meaning that I came into nursing as an OB nurse. I'm going out as an OB nurse, and I never wanted to try med surg, but if you can kind of dip your feet in little other areas, if you could be a nurse and you could be well-rounded, meaning that you could, maybe you did 2 years in ICU, maybe you did 3 years in same-day surgery, maybe you did a couple of years in ER, that makes you more marketable. Definitely do those things. Every time there's a travel assignment that comes up, it's for those types of things. And of course, I don't travel. I'm not a travel nurse, but it'd be great to have that skill set, so that when things like that came up, not even OB, I can go work it, because I'm like, okay, they're paying, $5,000 a week or maybe not 5,000, but $3,000 a week or whatever to do ER. And I'm like, okay, I could handle $3,000 a week for 2 months, and even though I don't like ER or something like that. So I do regret not dipping into other areas of nursing. When I first came into nursing, not nursing school, when I first came to become a nurse, back then was a time period, and again, it's been 16 years ago. Back then was a time period in which, as a society, we were more loyal and committed to our jobs. So you had a job and you stayed there for 30 years and then you retired, and that was that. You didn't really move around a lot. But I'm at a point, as I kind of came in through that change and that transition, where I feel like you need to move around some. You need to get experience at different hospitals. And that's another thing. Get experience at different hospitals. Don't stay at the same hospital. Maybe have your primary job at this place, but they have a PRN job at another hospital, even doing the same kind of nursing. So there's times where I've had a full-time job at one hospital, but I work PRN at another hospital. And what that does is it helps you learn how the different dynamics of how different hospitals work. I'm sure some of you, but not all of you, have heard of HCA hospitals. HCA runs differently than community CHS hospitals, that runs differently than, say, private hospitals. They all run different. So if you can kind of figure out your niche in which one you want to do in terms of what specialty, and go work different places and see how that works. Maybe you want to do trauma and you have a trauma 1 center versus another level of trauma. Go work at those different kinds so you can learn that skill set. Another thing, community hospitals, those little small community hospitals, they don't run the same way as these huge hospitals do. So maybe bounce around between those. Now, I've had the luxury of working at different hospitals, but it's more so because of the fact that I do clinicals with nursing students, not because I've actually been employed by them. But it still gives me the same snippet or snapshot of how they run by doing clinicals at these facilities. So for me as a clinical instructor, when I was a clinical instructor, it allowed me to definitely see, what they had to offer, and see how the nurses worked. And then as a way for me to try it before I buy it, because I was doing clinicals, I was like, you know what, I think I might want to apply for a job here, or no, I would never work for here. So, you know, things like that you have to be mindful of. I definitely feel like we were more loyal to our jobs back then, whereas now I've had nursing students who have had 4 jobs in their first year of nursing. And I'm not saying that's good either. I wouldn't recommend having 4 jobs in your first year of nursing. Definitely try to stay at one for the first year. And that way you can kind of build your skills, your time management. You can learn how things go before you jump onto something else. But definitely don't be afraid to move around. And if you don't have children or you're not committed to a certain area, don't be afraid to move around the country too. So like maybe you, or if you don't want to move around the country, do travel nursing so you can get that, you can be home, but then you can go travel and see how other parts of the world work. That's another regret of mine too, is not doing travel nursing. And honestly, it's all these things I say I regret. It's not too late for me technically. Technically, it's not too late for me. I can still go do travel nursing right now if I chose to do so. And OB, obviously. And honestly, I think I may do that maybe next summer. At first, I was going to do it this summer. I was like, no, I'm going to graduate. But then COVID happened and graduation got delayed. And so I couldn't, I just, and honestly, I don't want to do travel nursing in the midst of COVID anyway. So I may see about doing an assignment maybe next summer and make some extra money or whatever just to get that experience. And I could take what we call a local assignment, meaning I could take something that's maybe 2 or 3 hours away where I can go do my 3 shifts and come back home, you know, get a hotel, whatever, come back home every week and still live my life normal because I'm still in the same state or just like 2 hours down the road. So that's just something for you to all think about. Definitely travel if you can. I'm not saying definitely do travel nursing if you don't want to do that, but I'm definitely saying definitely don't be afraid to move around. If you don't have any commitments or your spouse or whoever you're with can say, oh, yep, let's go do something. Let's go do something different. Don't be afraid to do that. So allow me to reiterate. I was saying, make sure you try to move around as much as you possibly can when it comes to different specialties of nursing. So that's one thing. If you wanted to dip your hands in OB, dip them in OB. If you're like, okay, you know what? That was great for those few many years. I learned that. Now I want to go do something else. There's nothing wrong with wanting to change and do things differently. And that is a change from how I started school. We all came out, we did our thing, and we stayed there our entire nursing career. But for me, I'm very happy to say that even in my little OB world, I still do different aspects of nursing within my OB world. So for instance, I do OB on the floor. I'm a nurse educator, so I teach OB. And then I do a job where I go see at-risk moms and babies at their homes, and that's community health. So public health, community health, same difference. And it's also case management because I have a caseload. So even for me within my whole realm of OB, I did not just stay at the hospital, but I do wish I had have, you know, dived into maybe ICU for a year or two, you know, just to learn different things, because you need to build your RN or your nurse repertoire. You need to build that up. So I found that to be very, very helpful. Something else, I mentioned travel nursing that I really wanted to do. Don't be afraid of leadership too. That's another thing that I wouldn't say I'm afraid of leadership. I just did leadership in a different way. But don't be afraid to move up within your profession. So don't be afraid to become nurse manager or become charge nurse or become house supervisor. Don't be afraid of any of those things. Try those. I mean, if you qualify, definitely try those things. Be on some councils and things like that. Now me, I'm not one to be on nobody's committee at the hospital. You know, because the hospital has its own agenda. That's just me. That's how I feel about it. But the hospital has its own agenda. The hospital is definitely not something that I want to, my passion is education. So therefore you will always see me on the educational side when it comes to nursing students and things like that. That is my thing, is nursing students and education. So that's where I'll be on committees and things like that. I just work at the hospital to, for one, have my skill set. Number two, have something to be able to teach my nursing students. And then three, know how to be a nurse, you know. So that's that. So that pretty much sums up everything that I can think of. I have no regrets about going to get my education. I think education, I do have a recommendation though. I do have a recommendation. I've mentioned this before. Definitely go get education when you don't need it. So I have seen firsthand where nurses have gotten, you know, very frustrated and mad with their jobs or mad with situations at their jobs. And they've gotten mad at their jobs and they decide they want to leave, but they have to wait 2 years in order to get to the next position because they have to go back to school first. Go get your education when you don't need it. So be working on school while you are working with your job, while things are still okay, where you can still stand it. So when it's time to move, you just slide those credentials across the table. Say, I already got this, I already got this. So I'm ready to make a move at this point because I already have the credentials. Not where I done gotten mad today and now I have to wait for 2 more years to finish a program. I always did that. I've always gotten degrees when I did not need them. So I immediately went back for my master's program within about a year after I finished my bachelor's program. And it took me 3 years to do because, again, I didn't need it. I was doing it to have something to, basically to have options. I always say you want to have options. You are doing yourself such an injustice when something happens at work and you cannot make a move because why? You don't have options. There are people who are complaining that I work with all the time right now. Well, I can't stand the hospital, this, that, and the other. Well, then what are you doing to change the situation? Either, you have to either roll with it or you have to find another solution. And so for me, I wanted to always have that solution already in plan when I got sick and tired of being sick and tired of the hospital. So I'm at that point now where I'm pretty much sick and tired of being in the hospital. So therefore I already have a plan and I already have my job lined up and I already have the education that I needed. It's not where I said, okay, you know what? I can't stay in the hospital. Let me go back and get my degree now and have to wait 3 more years before I can make a move. No, I've already had everything lined up. It's kind of like getting your ducks in a row. You do that in advance. You don't do that when you done got sick and tired of being sick and tired. You do that in advance. So that's one thing I can say that I'm very proud of, that I actually did go get my education and I got it pretty systematically. I did stop to have children. So if you're going to have children or whatever, I'm not really recommending you, start a program or be in a program when you're pregnant. Can you do it? Yes, you can. I did it with my master's degree, but I don't recommend it. Especially if you're high risk pregnancies like I am. But I will say I definitely recommend that. But I don't think I have any more recommendations, or not recommendations. I don't really have any more issues that I kind of, if I had to go back and do it all over again. To be honest with you, to be 100% honest with you, I don't even know if I went all the way back, that I'd even be a nurse, period. If I had to do it all over again, I don't know if I would be a nurse. I guess I would be a nurse. I do love what we do. I know when we're in a hospital, as long as I have, or actually I have no regrets with that either. It's just, you have to know when it's your time to go. And I know that I'm at a point now where it's just my time to go out the hospital. So I don't have regrets with that. I wish I probably had gotten my life together sooner than I did. So I have a degree in psychology. So I spent a lot of time doing that for it not to come to fruition. And then here we are, had to go back to school after that and get my bachelor's degree in nursing. And I was only about 26 when I graduated with my master's degree in nursing. Was that 26? No, I was 26. No, that's not true. I was 29 when I graduated with my master's degree. I had 3 degrees before I turned 30. So I had my BS in psychology, my BSN in nursing, and my master's degree in nursing education, all by the age of 29. So yeah, I did do that. By the age of 29, I had all 3 degrees. And so education has always been a proponent for me, something I've always pushed, something I've always done. And that's very important for me to do so. So no, I don't have, I think, any more things that I would change in my past. I think that I have worked very hard to be where I am at this point in time. And a lot of things that I have done have been learning lessons, and taught me a lot about myself, taught me a lot about nursing. I don't regret who I've become as a nurse. I feel that I feel like I was very docile before I was a nurse. Very much, I would be in the corner crying and carry on because someone's hurt my feelings. And honestly, nursing has taught me to grow up and get it together and be more assertive. And at the end of the day, I had to realize that I don't like everybody. So why would I want everybody to like me? It's perfectly okay if you do, if you don't. I don't really care one way or the other, because that's not where my energy flows. I don't really put energy into that. So I've learned through trial and error how to deal with people professionally when I don't really care for them. I've learned how to be strategic in terms of how I plan and do things. I've learned how to do so many different things in nursing because of the fact that nursing has taught me that. So that is one thing that I can say positive about nursing, that has taught me a lot about myself and how to deal with adversity in a different kind of way, shall I say. All right, well, thank you for the one who actually recommended this video. You actually had another request as well, and I will do that in another video. But this one, I thought this was a great topic of, you know, anything that I wanted to change or I would do if I had to tell my older self, or, you know, looking back, what would I tell myself to do differently? This was an excellent, excellent, excellent topic, and I thank you so much for it. My name is Dr. Marida P. If you want to follow me on my social media, IG, you will see the handle up here, on here, in the banner at the top, and down in the description box below. I ask that you please like, share, comment, and subscribe if you have not already. This channel is growing very much. This channel is growing exponentially, and I thank you all so much for your words of encouragement for some of my other videos, for you being supportive of you as you have watched me in my DMP journey, for you giving me recommendations on what we should do in terms of more video content. I am listening to you, and I appreciate you all so much. I thank you so much, and until the next video, I'll talk to you later. Let's chat in the comments. Bye-bye.